Today, it's all Carolina Panthers. A few weeks back, things looked pretty bleak, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely dire.
But now, they've pulled off these unexpected, frankly huge wins against teams like Dallas and Miami.
Right.
So our sources are digging into this sudden shift. There's momentum, a whole new team identity, it feels like. We need to unpack how they got here.
And what it actually means going forward. That's the key. Is this real? Is it sustainable?
Exactly.
Because, when you look at the source materials, the core thing is this surprising parity they've found. They climbed to 4-3.
Yep, 4-3.
And they've got this winning formula now based on, specific things they're doing over and over. This just wasn't supposed to happen this quickly in the rebuild.
Yeah, so for everyone listening, we're focusing on three key pieces of this turnaround. First, this dominant new run game. Second, an evolving, much more physical defense. And third, the kind of unique strategic spot they're in with their young QB, Bryce Young.
A lot to cover there.
Let's dive in with the foundation, which is absolutely the offensive change under Dave Canales.
Yeah, and even just the vibe shift is telling. Sources are calling Bank of America Stadium a fortress all of a sudden.
A fortress, yeah. Where's that coming from?
Well, it feels rooted in physicality, right? Aggression. And it starts, no question, with the run game.
Okay, physicality.
Yeah.
And the embodiment of that seems to be one guy, Rico Dowdle. His emergence is like the main engine behind this streak. But I want to get beyond just the yardage. What are the sources saying about his style? What changed the whole tone?
Yeah, the descriptions are really consistent. Dowdle runs with a different kind of intention. He's not trying to dance around people. No, he's the hammer, not the nail, as one source put it. He's described as actually more fluid and agile than Chuba Hubbard, but just fundamentally harder to tackle on first contact. That changes everything.
And the numbers back that up, that violence translating. Against the Cowboys, his old team. 186 rushing yards, 56 receiving, a touchdown. That's a franchise record for all-purpose yards in one game.
Insane numbers.
And then he follows it up against Miami with 206 rushing yards, averaging 9 yards a pop.
9 yards a carry. And what's really interesting here is that it's not just Dowdle going rogue. This is like total unit execution.
Okay.
The sources are giving huge credit to the run scheme itself. The motions, the blocking designs, the double tight end sets. It's deceptive and it's working.
Even with the offensive line issues, because everyone thought that was a major weak spot.
Right. And they've ripped off over 200 yards rushing in back-to-back games, even though they've lost multiple starters.
Yeah, that's the part that needs a closer look. You lose 3 starters, guys like Robert Hunt, Taylor Moton, maybe Austin Corbett or Cade Mays, depending on the week.
Right.
And you're still paving the way for 200 yards. The depth guys must be stepping up massively.
Absolutely. And the sources specifically called out the tight ends, Tommy Tremble and Bryson Terrain. Relentless blocking, high effort, creating, quote, gaping holes. Not just getting in the way, but actually moving people. The scheme's maximizing that effort, disguising things, and letting an instinctive guy like Dowdle just hit it.
Which, naturally, leads to that running back debate, right? Hubbard just got paid, but Dowdle clearly looks like the better back, the more instinctive one, the guy setting the, quote, tone.
Yeah, and the Jets game comparison was pretty stark.
Tell me about it.
Dowdle averaged, 4.6 yards per carry, 17 attempts finding yards. Hubbard, though, looked stiff. Went down on first contact a lot, averaged just 2.2 yards on his 14 carries.
Oof.
The sources are pretty blunt. When you find a tone setter like Dowdle, you just can't take him off the field. Forget the contract for a minute. He is the identity right now.
Okay, so that aggressive run-first identity feels stable, established.
Right.
But that only works if the defense is holding up its end.
Exactly.
Let's shift there, because the defense has also had this, frankly, shocking turnaround.
Yeah.
Especially stopping the run.
This might be the biggest surprise of all. I mean, their run defense was arguably the worst in the NFL earlier this year. Statistically, it was awful.
And now,
look at the last few games. They held Dallas to just 29 rushing yards total. And Miami, a team that wants to run, only got 50. That's a ridiculous improvement in like a month.
Who gets the credit? Is it scheme? Players?
It's got to be both. Ajiro Olo, the DC, deserves praise for the adjustments, but key guys are playing way better. Derek Brown especially is highlighted. Mid-season form is the term used.
I love the description one source used, called him Snorlax out there.
That's perfect, actually.
Just tossing guys around, offensive linemen, running backs, just pure size and force.
It captures that physical dominance, not just effort. And look, you can't talk defense without mentioning J.C. Horn being available.
Ah, right. Huge difference when he's healthy.
He's a flat-out game changer. 2 massive interceptions against the Jets. The sources are basically saying he's a Pro Bowl lock if he stays on the field. His presence just lifts that whole secondary.
Okay, so things are clicking on defense too. But here comes the gut punch. The cost of winning, maybe. We have to talk about the big injury setback.
Yeah, this one hurts.
Outside linebacker Pat Jones II, out for the season, needs back surgery.
That is just a brutal blow, and it goes way beyond just losing one player's stats.
Explain that. He was a veteran presence, a leader.
Yes, all that. Plus, he was one of their bigger offseason signings. And critically, he actually had one of the team's sacks this year.
Which sounds minor, but context is key here.
It's huge context. They are dead last in the NFL. Dead last. In pressure rate, A&D sack percentage.
Wow.
So you're already desperate for pass rush, and you just lost one of the very few guys who was actually getting home, even occasionally.
So the on-field production loss is massive given their weakness there.
Exactly. And the sources really emphasize this is a big deal beyond the numbers, too. It's a culture hit.
How so?
Well, the detail about serious back surgery. Often the player is rehabbing totally separate from the team. Different facility, different schedule.
Disconnected.
Completely disconnected. You lose that daily team chemistry, that veteran voice in the meeting rooms, on the practice field. He was mentoring the young guys. Nick Scorton, Princely Human.
So those young edge rushers just lost their guide mid-season.
Pretty much. That kind of wisdom, especially during a surprise winning streak, you just can't replace it easily.
Okay, so momentum's building, but now there's this critical hole in leadership and production on D, which brings us right back to the quarterback, Bryce Young, and the big picture strategy.
Yep.
He's winning games, which is great. But the sources are asking, how? Is the team winning with him, or sometimes in spite of him, or maybe just around him?
It's a fair question, and the stats kind of point towards winning with him in a very specific way. His winning percentage is described as astronomically higher when he throws for less than 200 yards.
Less than 200 yards, or fewer than 25 passes.
Right, fewer than 25 attempts, which basically tells you the game plan has shifted dramatically to limit his exposure and just lean heavily on that run game.
Which feeds right into that chicken or the egg thing the sources brought up. 9 career wins. Okay. 8 of them involved a game-winning drive late.
An insane ratio.
But wait, does 8 game-winning drives mean they played 8 games that were nail-biters, games they maybe should have put away earlier?
Exactly.
Is he genuinely clutch, or is the offense just stalling out for 3 quarters, forcing these desperate late-game situations?
That's the million-dollar question the front office has to figure out, right?
Yeah.
Because if the offense consistently needs heroics just to squeak out wins, that's probably not a sustainable model. Especially thinking long-term contract-wise.
But on the flip side, the run game threat is clearly helping the receivers.
Right.
We're seeing Tetro McMillan drawing crazy coverage.
Oh, yeah, the prime Megatron treatment, one source called it. Defenses are bracketing him, putting multiple guys on him.
And that opens things up elsewhere.
It has to. And you saw it pay off for Xavier Legette against the Jets. He had that breakout game, 9 catches, 92 yards, a touchdown. That doesn't happen in a vacuum. That's a direct result of Dowdle pounding the rock and McMillan demanding so much defensive attention.
So this success brings us back to Young's long-term fit. Zooming out, the sources describe him as more of a situational quarterback.
Right. Not one of those guys like, Mahomes or Allen who are almost inevitable. Guys who can just take over a game regardless of the scheme or who's around them.
So a situational QB needs
the perfect setup, a highly tailored scheme, and absolute trust from the coach. Which is interesting because even in this win streak, you still see Coach Canals call those sometimes frustrating 3rd and long draw plays.
Yeah, those are head scratchers sometimes. Why?
Well, the implication is the coach feels like he has to mitigate risk, right? Rather than fully trusting Young to just drop back and make the play himself in those spots. It shows a lack of complete faith, maybe.
Okay, and this ties into that fascinating economic point the sources raised. This idea of the disappearing, $20 million quarterback tier in the NFL.
This is a huge structural issue for the whole league, honestly. QBs are either on those cheap rookie deals, which gives the team massive flexibility like Carolina has right now, or boom, they're instantly commanding $50+ million a year. There's almost no middle ground anymore. No tier for a solid, maybe slightly above average, but not elite quarterback to get paid moderately and still let the team build around him.
And why is that so critical for a guy potentially like Young, a situational QB? if he plays well enough for that second contract.
Because if you end up paying a situational guy $50 million, $55 million, think about the examples given, maybe like a Trevor Lawrence or Tua Tagovailoa contract.
Okay.
You absolutely cripple your ability to afford the necessary talent around him. A situational QB, by definition, needs more help. He needs that elite O-line, a couple of top weapons, a strong defense to prop him up.
And if his contract eats up, say, 25% of the salary cap,
you just can't afford it all. You can't pay for the elite supporting cast he needs to compensate for not being one of those inevitable guys. You end up having to make really tough choices, like maybe not being able to afford bringing in a veteran edge rusher when a guy like Pat Jones goes down.
Right, it all connects. Okay, so wrapping this up, what does this current success actually mean for the Panthers right now? They've found a formula: run the ball hard, stop the run hard.
Yep, run dominance, stout run D. And they've definitely capitalized on the general parity across the NFL this year.
That parity point feels really important.
It's maybe the most important factor driving their decisions near term. There just aren't any truly dominant, unbeatable teams this season. It means the playoff picture is just wide open.
Anyone can sneak in.
Pretty much. And being 4-3 puts Carolina right smack in the middle of that conversation.
Which leads directly to the big warning sign flashing in the source material, the slippery slope. Because the playoffs look accessible, the temptation is going to be strong to become buyers at the trade deadline.
Oh, absolutely. You could see them thinking, hey, let's trade some future picks for a veteran edge rusher to replace Jones, or let's get another proven receiver to make sure Young has enough help.
And that's the risk.
That's the huge risk. The sources are basically saying the Panthers need to take a hard look in the mirror and ask, are we actually good? Or are we just sort of relatively good because the rest of the league is having a down year?
That's a tough question.
It is, because if they aren't truly program changers yet, if this whole identity really hinges on Dowdle running like a madman every single week, then going all in now, trading away future draft capital for maybe a small shot at a low playoff seed, that could seriously set back the long-term rebuild, especially when you remember some questionable trades from the recent past, like the C.J. Henderson deal.
Yeah.
That stuff lingers.
Wow. That's a powerful, almost philosophical distinction they need to make. It's not just about winning the next game. It's about knowing who you really are as a team.
Exactly. Strategic self-awareness.
So,